because I haven't done one of these before, but I'm a little late. Apologize. I was speaking to landscapers this morning over at Innovation Campus, which I had scheduled, but we forgot about it. I got to start off by first, I've been thinking about sharing this with you because I always have to have something for Tom Chattel. And Neil Young, I think, is one of the greatest musicians ever, and there's a song that I've listened to for 30 years from him, and he talks about it's better to burn out than fade out. Like I said, I haven't been through this before, but I've always approached that I was going to go as hard as I could. And when the day came and I felt like I've done enough, and that's what happened last week. And my daughter's having another baby. That's also part of it. And I've missed a lot with my kids. Sorry. But I want to be there for those grandkids. Also, Coach Pettit left this program in a great spot for me, and I feel like Nebraska volleyball is in the best spot it's ever been since I've been here with our team. And I'm talking about our team's going to be a great team. They have a chance to be a great team. But this team, just to give you an example, I met with him yesterday. Troy talked to him, did an amazing job. Of course, there's emotion. Sports, it's what you want. The first thing they did, they go, we need 5 minutes. They went and met, and they started talking about how they're going to support Danny. To me, that validated it all. So I feel really good about putting Danny in a position to keep this program going. And we've learned lessons here since I've been here in the last 25 years, how it can go bad. And we got to do everything we can to keep Nebraska volleyball going. And Danny's, she's the right person. So I feel really good about handing this over, and it feels like it's the right time. I want to, for Danny, she's done one of the greatest turnarounds in the history of college volleyball. 8 years, she's been to 3 Final Fours, played for 2 national championships in a program that was a mess. And the fact that she coached here, and I don't know if you guys know this, but she also played here, won a national championship. And when she said she wanted to go into coaching, I said, Danny, you got to go away from here. And she went to some tough programs, Louisville, Tennessee. I can't remember, there's one other one. And then she came back here to coach, and we won another national championship. And then she's gone on to Louisville. She bleeds Husker. The other thing I want to point out is Coach Osborne went 25 years. He's been my greatest mentor. And I went 25 years. So I called him the night before, or 2 nights ago, to thank him. So it's just been an honor, to work here and to work for him when he was the athletic director, and aspire to be somebody like him. I also want to tell you, when you interview Danny, a story I told the team yesterday. Danny was from Adams Central or Adams Freeman, and she was the first girl I ever saw that could do a fadeaway jump shot in basketball. I was watching state tournament, recruiting her. She's doing jump shots. And I'm thinking, wow, this is an athlete. So we tried to make her a setter because she was a softball pitcher, so she didn't have a very good arm swing to hit. And great softball pitcher. She was thinking about playing softball in college. And So we recruited her as a setter, and for 3 years she set. In 2005, we set for the played for the national championship. She was a setter in a 6-2 system, and we lost to Washington. And I knew we had to make a change and go back to a 5-1, so I called her in January, and I brought her in the office, and I said, Danny, we're going to move you to libero. She looked at me. She said, I don't know if it's an adjective. Amy helped me out, adjective, pronoun, noun, but it was kind of like started with an F and a Y, and left my office. I didn't see her for 3 days. I finally called her mom on the third day. And I said, Bonnie, had a bad meeting with Danny. She wasn't happy. I don't know where she is. I haven't seen her. Nobody's talked to her. She goes, she'll be in your office later today. So I'm thinking she's coming in to quit. And again, there's no portal back then, so you didn't worry too much about transferring. And she comes in with a letter. And this letter talked about she was going to do everything possible to help that team, whatever role that she was asked to do, she would do it. And that team elected her captain, and we won. 1 year she played libero. She ended up playing great. We won the national championship. And she was a great leader. And that's when I knew she would be a great coach. So sometimes as coaches, we learn those lessons, and we got to go through them as players. And so she's paid her dues, and she understands what it takes, and that's why she's been so successful. The other thing I've been thinking about is I want to thank all the coaches, the players. I haven't even got through all my texts and emails yet. Just how many people, like Troy said, appreciate Nebraska volleyball. Feels great. Because we want to be a difference maker, and we want to leave a legacy. And so I feel like we've done that. But it's been a team effort. And I also want to thank Troy and Kristen. The last week, what they've pulled off is unbelievable to me. How all this happened, how fast it happened, and how they did everything. We kept it top secret. Troy's like, we go to China, there's got these guys that get these plates going everywhere. They got like 25 plates all spinning on sticks. I feel like that's what Troy's been doing the last week. And he's done an amazing job, and Kristen's done an amazing job as well, so I want to thank them. And he's made this feel really good for me, and very valued. So that's what I got. And again, I just want to hammer the point that I've had more fun coaching the last 2 years with this group than I can remember coaching. It's been a blast, and I've always wanted to go out on top when it's really fun and I'm enjoying a group. I didn't want to go out where, God, it's miserable. It's time, I want to get out. And so that was one of the hardest things, and I tried to explain that to our team. I have so much love and respect for them, and they're so much fun to be around, and they're just a great group that was the time to go out feeling it like I was at the top. And also, if you look at the last 10 years here, it's been the most successful, the greatest run we've had since I've been the coach here. And so, again, I just feel like we're at the top of our game, and it's a great time to be a cheerleader now. So what questions can I answer?
You alluded to it, but why now? Was there a light bulb moment for you? What transpired for you since the season ended to last Thursday?
I don't know if there was a light bulb moment. It was just a feeling. And I've talked to some other people who have retired or just retired, friends of mine. And of course, I've studied Saban and those guys. It just was a feeling. And I started feeling it. And like Troy said, I came in, Troy, I think we need to start talking about a succession plan. Is that now? Is it 9 months from now? What is it? And just as we started moving through it and talking to Danny, it just felt like now was the right time. for her, for me, and for the program and the team. I want to give her the best shot and the best runway going into this season. And so I think that was the biggest part. But there wasn't a moment. It was just a feeling that started happening. And it was hard to work through. I mean, I've had a knot in my stomach for weeks. But like I told you all the things, I just feel really good where our program's at and where our team's at. It's a feeling of accomplishment, and I'm content. I feel like I've done everything I can do. I mean, what's left to do? You know, there's going to be a new challenge out there. We're going to open at PBA. That's going to be one. And these are ones for Danny now to take on, and Kelly and Jalen and our Lindsay. There's going to be new things. The revenue share is new. That's going to be a whole nother animal to tackle. I think the Big Ten, there could be some type of tournament. So there's just going to be a lot of new things, and I just think I've done everything. The only thing left to do was to continue to try to win more games. And so I just felt like it's time to make that change now. And it was a feeling, and it's a freeing feeling, and it's, am I going to miss it? Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm going to miss it. But I'm going to be the biggest cheerleader.
Hey, John, through the last couple of years, what were your conversations like with Danny, and how did they evolve to get to the point where they were in the last week?
Well, this all really started, and I can't remember how many years it goes, but Danny and I always, whenever we go recruiting and we're in the same recruiting place, we always pick a really nice place to go to dinner. She always dresses up. I'm just wearing this. And we just visit. And it was a few years ago when she was got a new contract. She said, I put in there, I have a non-buyout clause with Nebraska. And I said, so that means you want to come back? And she said, yeah. And so that's kind of where it started. So that was it. And it's just, but she planted that seed, and I knew that was her dream, and I called her after Christmas. I don't remember when, but I just said, Danny, this is how I'm feeling. What are you thinking? And so we just started talking a little bit about it. And of course, it's Troy's decision, and he had never really met Danny. So all I did was say, I think this is who should be the next coach here. And then I think if you ask Troy, I think Danny did a hell of a job convincing him in that.
Danny was in town over the weekend. One, did you go anywhere nice for dinner to talk? But maybe was that strategic that she was in town and we all just thought she was here for love?
She was planning on coming in. Like I said, this all just really worked out. It was like, I don't want to say divine intervention. It just, things started. As a coach, you're looking for signs, and you're looking for things, and it just started all clicking. She happened to be coming to Lincoln. Troy was in town. She came to see her players. I went to the first pro match that I've been to because they invited me to come up there. So it just all started happening. So we made it happen, and we were able to fool Kelly and Jalen. They didn't know, so that was the biggest win. And Lindsay. So it was kind of top secret type stuff, which is kind of fun. But Amy, I want to finish answering your question because you look for signs, and on Monday morning, it's today Thursday, Monday morning I was in Ord, Nebraska. And I was there doing a visit to put our spring match there. And they asked me to go over to the Grandview Old People's Home is the best way I can describe it. So I went over and talked to the people that live in Ord, Nebraska. They were super fired up. They're all wearing red. And so and these women are telling me about playing volleyball in the sandhills in the 50s. It was awesome. And I said, well, how many were on a side? They couldn't remember. But they did remember you could hit the ball twice, and it wasn't you wouldn't lose the point. You could actually hit the ball, set yourself and hit it. That was one of the things they said it was in the rules. As I'm walking out, there's this old man, has to be in his 90s. He's on a cane, and he's hunched over like this, and I'm walking out the door. He never said a word the whole time, And he goes, "Coach, who's going to be the next coach at Nebraska?" And I said, "That's a decision for our athletic director." And he goes, "It's going to be the Louisville girl." And I had one of my Cowboy friends with me. He goes, "Wow, what was that?" And I just feel like there was a sign. How did he know? I don't know if it's a sixth sense, but I didn't go in there and talk about retiring. I mean, I was in there just talking to him, and that if there was a moment, that was it right there.
How do you see Danny continuing your legacy of dreaming big and elevating this program and the sport?
I just think being in this program, she knows what we do here. I mean, she's as familiar with anybody, and but she has to put her own touch on it, which she will. She's going to dress a lot better than I did. She is going to have more fun with our players, I think, well, of course, I got into TikTok, so, but I don't know. I've watched her and talking coaching over the years with her. She has a way about her that with her players, they love her, they have fun, they do fun things. So I think she's going to put her mark on it, but it's still going to be Nebraska volleyball.
John, with the close relationship you have with this team, how do you describe the difficulty of telling them of your decision?
Well, I called in Harper first because I knew that would be the toughest one. I didn't even get to the T in retirement, and she was very, very emotional. So once I got through that, it was a lot easier to go with a team because I knew that would be the tough one. They all responded really well, but again, it was tough, but I just pretended I'm giving them a pregame pep talk. That's what I told myself. And we did it. And again, I was so pumped up. Their first reaction was, "We're going to meet." And when they went to meet, I didn't know what they were meeting about. I'm like, wow, are they going to start talking about going in the portal or what? But they made a commitment to help Danny. Can't ask for anything more than that.
You said that you plan to be one of the biggest cheerleaders in the future. How involved do you want to be there for Danny? Phone calls, whatever.
Whatever Danny asks from me, I'm there, and I'm going to help out with the athletic department and with Troy. We haven't got that far yet, but I want to still be involved and help out any way I can. If they need me to coach linebackers, I'll do that. But Danny, I want to help her with the transition because there is some unique things here, and we're looking at contracts and all kinds of things with schedules and things like that, camps. So I've got to help her transition through a lot of that. But then I'm going to be here for whatever they need, and I'll take the cues from her and Kelly and Jalen and Lindsay. And the players, whatever they need, I want to be here for them, and whatever I can do to help this athletic department, because I'm really excited for where this place is going and the leadership that Troy and his team is providing. This is an awesome place to be around right now.
What was your mindset like when you had that meeting with Troy? Did that kind of add some realness to the decision, or when do you think that decision will feel real?
Troy was awesome, and I think we talked. Troy and I talked. I'm not sure he's had many people retire. It's more they got fired. So he was awesome in leading me through it and talking me through it, and it just because I didn't know what to expect and I didn't know how I would feel, but he was. If there's a mentorship right there, it was he took the lead and talked me. We worked it through it, and. The other thing is he kept checking on me every day. First thing in the morning, "Coach, how you doing? How you feeling?" And as we're working through it. And so, again, he did an amazing job.
Coach, of all the hundreds of players you've coached in your career, besides thanking them, what's maybe the one message you hope they take with them, or one life lesson they take with them as they go about their lives?
Dream big. Just that's our theme, dream big. And we've done it here, and that's what's so cool. And again, I should get a shout out to Bill Byrne, who gave me the opportunity. And I remember this, our first meeting, it was like 2 minutes. He goes, John, I'm never gonna, you ask me for anything, you tell me anything you need, I'm never gonna tell you no. We may not be able to get it done, but I'm never gonna tell you no. And right there was the permission. He gave me the keys to dream big. And again, if you could look at our first year, I took a team to China. No team had ever been to China. And, you know, we could do a documentary on that trip, but that was the first international trip Nebraska ever went on, and we were the first college team ever going to, at the time, was communist China.
How important was it for you to have Jalen and Kelly and Lindsay stay on this staff, and how much is that going to help with the transition with Danny?
Well, it's Danny's call, but she knows these guys really, really well. She's been working with Jalen on USA teams and camps, so I think it was just a natural thing, and it's going to keep consistency with our team and what we're doing, and allow Danny to really work on not having to work on the day-to-day things right now and figure all that out. Just think if she's bringing in a whole new staff, they don't know anything, man, that would be a big hill to start climbing. So this is going to be a great transition for her and allow her to hit the ground running. And again, they know each other. Kelly, where's Kelly? 2 years ago, Kelly, was it when you went down and watched Louisville train in the spring? Kelly, wherever you are? Yeah. So Kelly got in a car. Where were you guys? You got in a car with Danny and their staff and drove to Louisville. Yeah, so that's how comfortable they are. So it was an easy transition.
Has this hit you yet, or are you still?
You know how to dig. I have been feeling great, and I'm gonna be honest, when I pulled up in the parking lot here, I lost it. They hit me. Thanks for asking that. I do want to say one other thing, and because this will come up at some point. What's your greatest accomplishment? What's the highlight of this thing? Was it winning a national championship, the stadium match? I've thought a lot about it, and it always comes back to this. I get to hire or hand off this program to a former player, somebody from Nebraska, hiring Kelly Hunter to come here and coach. To me, this is the greatest accomplishment is somebody who's played here gets to be the head coach here. And that validates that I've done some pretty cool things coaching and having these guys play here in their experience, that they want to come back and be coaches and keep this going. To me, that's my greatest accomplishment that I could do.
In the time that you've been the head coach at Nebraska, you've seen this sport go through just exponential growth. I remember sitting there when the move happened from the Coliseum to Devaney and the concern of like, is this going to fill up? And the sellout streak continued. And then you just filled a football stadium with people who would probably do it again if they could. When you reflect on that, just what does it mean to you to see what that growth has looked like in 25 years, knowing where it can still go?
Yeah, and you're right. We're going to find out a PBA now, and so we're going to make that step. Our fans we say we have the greatest fans, we do, and volleyball is a state treasure here, and I think it's in the DNA of this state. And again, you look at all levels of volleyball, high school to Division I, they're all ranked, doing really well. So volleyball is a big deal in this state, and again, there's a lot of great coaches and a lot of great programs, and I think we've kind of been the leader of that. And you look at the pro league now as breaking records for attendance, so people love volleyball here, and you got to give credit to all the players that have played here in Nebraska have been the role models of that. And I think playing in the Coliseum got everybody, I've heard this so many times. I finally got to go to a match. I now want to get season tickets. I mean, people fall in love with it. So, yeah, I just, and it's going to keep going. And we have a huge waiting list for tickets, so we probably need to put more seats in Devaney somehow.
John, you had a transfer recruit come in last week too. Was there any discussion with her about any possible transition, or how'd you kind of handle that situation?
This is unbelievable. Okay, so Allie, okay, yeah, I can't, okay. I can't talk about her now. Hang on, sorry. So, but I'm going to tell you the story. This recruit you're referring to, I actually called her last night. She just didn't even say anything. She just started sobbing. And so this is how it went. So she goes in the portal. The first call is from Kansas, Ray Bichard. She goes and visits. He retires the next day. In the meantime, or maybe it was a couple days later, in the meantime, she goes to Oregon and visits, comes home from Oregon, and her last visit is going to come to Nebraska. She's waiting till we start school. Matt Ulmer goes to Kansas. Okay, she comes here, likes it here. You know the story, and then now I retire. So think about what's going through her mind right now. So pretty incredible story, but she's good.
Is there a moment where Danny accomplished something at Louisville that convinced you that she would probably get your endorsement?
Yeah, the first one was when they beat Texas in the NCAA tournament. Then they played for a national championship, and then this year was which put it over the top. And I shared this with Troy. When you're hosting a Final Four, and it's really hard to get there. There's so much pressure to get there because you feel like you're going to let down all your fans if you don't get there. And every time we've hosted, all you hear is, "Hey, I got my tickets. See you in Omaha. See you there. You better be there. I got my tickets." You just hear that constantly, and you have a lot of pressure that you feel to get there. And to do that is really, really hard. And they did it this year, and they possibly could have won the national championship if DeBeer didn't get hurt. It was just a really tough break. So to me, she proved it.
Through your 25 years here, everything you've learned, what's the one main piece of advice you would pass on to Danny when she's struggling or succeeding?
Well, that's a tough question. I already, we'll probably talk about that, but I'm going to tell her she's got to trust herself. She's ready. She knows what she needs to do. Just trust herself, trust her instincts, and to surround herself with some great people. And that's what I tried to do here. I tried to surround myself with people who could help me from all different walks of life. And again, Coach Osborne, when he was here, was unbelievable. And there's been other people in the community in the state that I've surrounded myself with to help me be the best I could be and challenge me.
Time for a few more questions.
People are talking about your impact on women's sport and not just volleyball. How does that make you feel as a coach and a dad and a grandpa?
Really good, because when you're in the grind and you're coaching, you're not really thinking about the big picture all the time. And I know our stadium match changed women's sports, and it was the second biggest thing probably ever happened besides the soccer team winning way back when they won the World Cup or the Olympics, whatever it was. And so we've had a major impact on that. And again, I told our team when I first got here, we were over in the Coliseum, and they had one toilet and a pipe coming out. That was no shower head. That was the shower. And to see where we are now, where our players are going to be getting paid, and we've sold out every match since 2001. And again, I got to give credit to our fans. I challenged them in 2001 to, hey, can we start a sellout streak? And here we go. We're at 300 and something. A few more years, we'll catch football.
When you started at Francis Parker, could you have imagined
No.
anything like this?
No, not at all. I couldn't wait till I could go back and coach football. That's all I was thinking. When the hell can I get out of here and coach football? But yeah, life took me on a different path, and we started winning, and I saw what it did to the school, because it was new, and it was women's sports, and it just unified the school. We went to the state championship the second year. So they get on all the buses and go up to LA where the state championship was. And I just saw people. It was like here, the people all of a sudden were packing the gym for a women's volleyball team. And so I saw that, and but no, I never thought this would ever happen, or I would move to Nebraska.
When did you know that volleyball was going to be the path for you as opposed to football?
Probably after about 4 years of teaching, Wendy told me I should go get my master's degree. And I went to San Diego State. There was 2 professors that were world class, worked with Olympians, and I got it. They didn't call it sports psychology then, but now it would be called sports psychology. And we started doing research projects with my volleyball team, and I started a club team, and we started doing research projects. And that's when I became really into it, and I did a master's thesis on one of my club teams. And ironically, the University of San Diego coach was on that team, and she's done a great job, went to the Final Four 2 years ago. And so you just never know when you're making an impact on somebody. But I think that's when I thought, this is pretty cool, and I really got into it.
John, of all your career highlights over 25 years, what's going to be your fondest memory?
Yeah, I don't know. The picture I have behind my desk is of our 2008 team with Jordan on there, and we came back and beat Washington in that regional final. And her mom couldn't get to the match. It was one of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen. That team did more with less, and that was an unbelievable. And then we came back and played Penn State in that match where they hadn't lost a set all year, and I think it's 12-11 in the 5th. So probably that week that's why I have the picture behind my desk.
Are you looking forward to spending some more time with the horses as opposed to club tournaments or the minutia of being a coach?
I brought my cowboy hat. So I want to get a picture with an interview with my cowboy hat on for my cowboy friends. But I don't know if you guys know this, but we're actually putting on a John Cook roping classic April 12th and 13th out at Sandhills Global. It's going to be a great event. It's going to be one for my level and one for the pros. And it's going to be a blast. And we're selling tickets. We're going to raise money for UNL Rodeo Scholarship. And we're doing a whole kids, Saturdays all kids roping and kids clinic and being with those young kids. And then Sundays when they're roping for money. And again, we're going to give it to the scholarship. UNL Rodeo team's going to be there to help, and there's going to be ropers coming in from all over Texas, Oklahoma, Wyoming. These guys, the big guys, are coming in.
What would you say to the players to calm them down and make them feel good about this transition?
Well, we just met, and they did their thing, and right away Danny got on a FaceTime with them, and they should be meeting with them this afternoon. So some of them came up to my office and shared some thoughts, which were all great, more just thank yous. And several of them have sent me texts sharing their feelings, which it's great. So.
How has coming to Nebraska maybe changed your life, made you who you are today?
Dr. Gold says it best. I'm a Nebraskan by choice. So I wasn't born here, but I really feel like I'm a Nebraskan. It was by choice. But I bleed Husker, and it's the greatest thing I think that ever happened to my wife and I to move here. It was really hard because we were living in San Diego. I wanted to be a teacher because I could go all summer to the beach. So that's all I wanted to do, and then coach football. And I don't know if I've ever told you guys this story, but I got offered the job. My wife was an accountant. She quit her job at Price Waterhouse. We had a pickup truck and a U-Haul. We drove all the way to Ogallala on the first night. It's August 5th. This is 1988. We pull into Ogallala. It's 105 degrees. The south wind's blowing, and if you've been to Ogallala, there's a big feedlot, and we're like, what's this smell? There's cockroaches in the room. She starts losing it. What the hell are we doing here? That was her first impression of Nebraska. But after that, it's been the best thing ever. And I'm very proud to say both my kids went here to school. And again, one of my proud moments was coaching Lauren. I would definitely say that is at the top. And my son getting his master's degree here.
We'll wrap it up there. Thank you everybody for coming. Thank you, coach.
Okay, thank you. Go Big Red.